Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 562 of Screw the Commute podcast. I'm here with Ellen Finkelstein, and she is a prolific writer and content producer. She's been cited on ABC, NBC, CBS, and Microsoft website, and she's one of only 18 people in the USA. I'm not going to tell you what until we bring her on, and then you'll see she's really, really up there. So make sure you pick up a copy of our podcast app so you can put us on your cell phone and tablet and take us with you on the road. It does all kinds of cool stuff. When if you're listening to the podcast and you get a phone call, it'll dim, stop the podcast. And then when you hang up, it'll pick right up where you were and all kinds of cool stuff. So grab that at screwthecommute.com/app for app. And then, as always, I want you to pick up a copy of our automation ebook. I mean, you will thank me if you just do a portion of what's in this book. This is what's allowed me to handle up to 150,000 subscribers and 65,000 customers without pulling my hair out. And really to ethically steal customers from other people too slow to get back to people. This is just, there's just all kinds of free and cheap tricks and tips in here that will just massively increase your speed of getting your work done. So check it out. It's screwthecommute.com/automate free, screwthecommute.com/automate free. And we're still in the middle of our wonderful program I'm so proud of to help persons with disabilities get trained in internet and digital marketing so that they can not only not have to kill themselves to go to class every day at some, school that's going to just teach them how to protest, basically, not teach them stuff and overcharge them for it, so they can legitimately study from home and legitimately get hired from home or start their own business or both. So I'd love to have your help with this. We're doing a GoFundMe campaign. We've got 3 people in the program so far, and guess what? 2 of them are blind, and they're doing videos. So when I hear you crying the blues, you can't do videos, just shut up because you can. These blind people could do it. You can. So check it out at imtcva.org. Of course, this will be in the show notes along with all Ellen's great stuff that you'll hear about. And it's /disabilities. Check out the GoFundMe campaign, and anything you can contribute is great, helps out. And if you're really flush with cash, you could sponsor a person yourself. And boy, that's something you could really be proud of. So check it out. All right, let's get to the main event. Ellen Finkelstein is here, and I should have asked her for sure if it's Finkelstein or Finkelstein, but she'll tell me here in a minute. She teaches experts who want to get their knowledge out to the world how to reach more people with profitable online products and courses. And she's created and sold dozens of online programs, and she helps experts do the same so they can create change for as many people as possible. Ellen, are you ready to screw the commute?
I am, Tom, and I'm excited, and Finkelstein is just right.
Finkelstein, okay, good for me. So, boy, you've been in the game a long time. I saw your LinkedIn profile, and I've known of you for many, many years, so I'm glad that we're crossing paths here today. But so first of all, I want to talk about you're a prolific writer. You got all kinds of books out.
I do. I started working at home when my kids were really little. I needed something to do at home, and I started doing technical editing. And then there was a publisher, it was IDG Books, which was bought by Wiley & Sons, and they had a book. It was going to be called AutoCAD for Dummies Quick Reference. They don't do the quick reference ones anymore, but they had an author. They had signed up for AutoCAD for Dummies. That's a drafting program, and AutoCAD for Dummies Quick Reference. And he bailed out on them on the quick reference, and they were desperate. And so they let me write the book, and that was how I started.
Well, that's amazing. When I looked at your Amazon profile more, there's just book after book after book after book. But there is something that, I didn't tell you I was going to bring this up, and I know it's a kind of a sad topic, but Um, in December of 2020, Flash actually died.
Oh, yes. May it rest in peace.
Rest in peace, 'cause Ellen has written books on Flash. So what did you think when you heard that? I think they announced that it was going to die a couple years before that. What did you
Y-
think?
Well, I thought it was sad, I suppose, but Adobe bought it from Macromedia and they had their own animation program, so they really wanted to kill it, I think. And actually, even Macromedia, but also Adobe, they kind of killed it by making it for programmers only, as opposed to for designers. And I actually, when I want to animate stuff, I do it in PowerPoint these days because it's easy and you don't need to be a programmer. But yeah, I'm the co-author of 5 editions of Flash for Dummies. For
Well,
what it's worth right now.
well, they're collector's items now, I bet. So yeah, they're probably on sale for $800 on Amazon.
Well, I can't complain because that book sold really, really well, and the first royalty, and I was sharing it with my co-author, was about a third of the down payment for my house. So I'm
Oh,
not
beautiful.
complaining.
I probably have a copy in my library. I have 3 libraries in the retreat center, so it's probably in there somewhere. Um, but speaking of PowerPoint, now this is where you are a big shot of the world in that there's only 18 people that are in the USA that are PowerPoint MVPs. What exactly is that?
So it stands for Most Valuable Professional, and it's a Microsoft award, and they have it in a lot of their different products. So I mean, technically, I'm a Microsoft apps MVP, which includes all of Office, but we ignore that because I really just focus on PowerPoint. But there are people who focus on Word or Excel or some of their programming things as well. So you have to be an expert in it, and you have to give your knowledge away freely, which kind of means for free. That doesn't mean you can't make a living, but I do that by blogging and by emailing. And so and I've written books on PowerPoint. So I've been teaching people about PowerPoint for a pretty long time.
See, you should be a gazillionaire if if every speaker that I know um, should hire you because they all suck at PowerPoint.
Yes. So people misuse PowerPoint a lot. There's an expression, death by
Right,
PowerPoint.
right.
And I don't really know why, because by now everybody knows that you shouldn't just put up a wall of bullet points because bullets kill
Well,
people.
they might know, but that doesn't mean they do.
Yeah, it's funny because really what they're doing is they're putting up a teleprompter for themselves. But what happens is, and there's some research on this, when people see that, they read the text. And while they're reading, they can't listen to the
Hmm.
speaker. And so if you don't want people to listen to you, then put up a wall of bullet points.
And put it behind you so that
And
you
put
have to go look look at the screen instead of the people.
exactly. So you have to turn your back. Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you know this about me, or if you've ever even seen me speak, but I never use PowerPoint. I just put the stuff that I want to display on my desktop, and then, what I've seen is, typically your time gets cut, and so then people are like either talking faster to try to get
Right.
through the slides, or people feel that if they skip through some slides, the audience feels they're cheated. So the only time I use PowerPoint, I mean, I used it 30 times out of 3,000 speeches because I was a spokesperson for CBS, and they owned one of the biggest websites in the world, and I was a spokesperson, and I had to do 30 speeches, and they made me use it. But other than that, you know, I never use it for that. I use it for webinars, and
Right.
I use it if I need a graphic or an ad or something I want to make, and
Exactly.
it's easy,
Yeah.
to do it. I mean, I'm sure I'm not as slick like you, but it's a great program. And I had a website for years called what uh, something like I hate PowerPoint or something, or PowerPoint stinks. That's what it was. Yeah, and, and it
It
was
was
fun.
PowerPointstinks.com.
Yeah, it was PowerPointstinks.com, and it was
And
full.
Microsoft never came after you?
No, they didn't, which was, it never went really big, because I know that they would have, had I But what was interesting is that it was full of Google AdSense ads for PowerPoint. You
Right,
know,
of course.
so
That was your key word.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but now, are you also a word expert? Because I need somebody to call when I get stuck.
Well, I'm not, I wouldn't call myself a word expert to the level of being an MVP in it, but I wrote a lot of books for major publishers and I had to use Word. So I'm pretty good at it.
Yeah, I run into things once in a while with with placement of graphics. Sometime one
Call
person.
me next time it happens. And if I can't get you the answer, I'll find you somebody who
Oh,
can.
beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. One guy told me, instead of inserting the graphic into the text, insert a text box and then insert the graphic into a text box. Did you ever hear that?
No, but I think what you're missing is that when you insert an image, then you can change its alignment. There's a little box at the
Mm-hmm.
upper right-hand corner, and you can set it to tight or square, and that lets you move it around where you want, because by default, it's kind of aligned with the text. And so if you want to move that image around and place it exactly where you want, and if you want the text to wrap around it, you should choose either square or tight
Boy, I
as
wish
the
you could just
word wrap.
drag it exactly where you wanted and
You
leave it there.
can, you can when you choose that type of alignment.
Oh,
That's
well,
what
because
that
yeah,
does.
because with me it just jumps all over the place, and I finally give up on it. But
Call me.
I will.
Call
Well,
me.
and putting captions on and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
try. Um, but let's get into you're really a prolific product creator yourself. So, what tips do you have for people that are that are experts, but they it's the expertise is only in their head?
The first thing I say for people, and I see this a lot, people have knowledge and they want to get it out of the world and they are experts and it's still in their head, is to get it out of your head, because it's actually a burden to like have to remember all of this and think about it. So the first thing is to create an outline. And after I started writing books, I mentioned this, we talked about AutoCAD. They ended up giving me a book called the AutoCAD Bible, which went into 17 editions. And it started at 800 pages and ended up at 1,200 pages. And you can imagine the table of contents for that. And when you submit a proposal to a publisher, you have to give them the table of contents. And so I really, really learned how to organize a huge, huge amount of content. But even if you're doing it just informally, writing out an outline is the first step. Lots of people don't start writing. It doesn't have to be a book. It could be a course or any type of product. They don't start because it seems like such a huge, big project. But once you have an outline, you just start writing below each heading.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just organized there for you. And you're breaking it up into small little pieces, and it's much, much easier.
Yeah, and now this might be blasphemy to you, but but uh, I tell people one way to start out, to get your outline, to see all the topics that should be covered. We go to Amazon and pull up a book on the topic, and then click look in, and they usually show you the table of contents
They
for
do.
the
Yeah.
books, and you say, oh, gee, I forgot I should have something about that in there. So they kind of did the work for you. So.
Yeah, look, certainly looking at competitors is
Mhm.
something everybody does. I don't think that's blasphemy.
Oh, good. So what's the next deal? You start fleshing out stuff.
Yes, you do start fleshing out stuff, but I also wanted to give another tip, because I think this is something that affects about half of the people in the world. So I discovered that some people are good at writing and some people are better at speaking. It's just
Hmm.
one of them or the other is going to be more natural for you. So I had an experience working with this woman. We were working, she was a professor. We were working on a website about how to get a job at after you finished college. And she's trying to sit down in front of the computer and write the text of this web page about it. I can't do it. I don't know why. I say it all the time. And so I said, you know what? Get up. I'm going to sit in front of the computer and then you just tell it to me. And it just like was so easy for her to speak it.
Hmm.
And that was how I discovered that for some people, speaking is easier than writing. And so if writing is hard for you, then you should dictate. Both Word and Google Docs let you just dictate. And even though there'll need to be some cleanup, you can, if that's easy for you, you can get stuff out really, really quickly. First of all, you can speak faster than you can write. And so that just might be another easy way for you to get the content out there.
Are you in favor of ghostwriters for those kind of people? Like they get all the major ideas on tape or something, and then have someone finish it off, because some people are suck at writing.
So I would call that an editor, I think, as opposed to a ghostwriter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do feel like if you're an expert, you need to put that expertise somewhere, whether you're dictating it, it needs to get into a document somehow. And then, yeah, somebody could clean it up as well. That wouldn't be a
No,
problem.
I thought a couple of your books I saw on Amazon that you were a co-author. So
Yes.
what's the difference there between, because you do see celebrities, with another person listed, but the celebrity didn't write crap. They just were the celebrity, and the other person wrote the whole thing. So how's it?
Yes, like the books Donald Trump wrote.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he didn't write anything. So when you're in a co-author, how do you really work with that other person if they're, I assume with you, they were really contributing something important.
Yes. So I felt I have one book that I was like the developmental editor for, that I didn't understand the topic at all. It was called Jakarta Struts for Dummies. And you don't know what Jakarta Struts is?
No.
You don't? You don't, Tom? Really?
I'm afraid that my valedictorian status has been put on hold for that.
Well, I didn't either before I did it. So it's a framework for programming, for Java programming. And the other person on the book was the expert in it, but he had never written anything before. And so I'm listed as a co-author. They actually wanted to put me first, and I told them that was ridiculous because I was a well-known author at that time. So they did put me second, which made a lot more sense. And he would write, and then I would make it make sense, because we're talking about programming, which doesn't make sense to too many people. But all the other books I've written as a co-author, we took different sections of the book. So, for example, my Flash for Dummies books, the person I co-wrote with was a programmer, and there were parts of Flash that required programming. And so he did that section, and I did the graphics section of that book. We kind of split the book. Or my books with Connie Reagan Green. Do you know Connie?
I do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I have two books with Connie Reagan Green, one for speakers and one for authors, and they're both about how to turn your speaking or your writing into an income stream, into an online business. And we just took separate chapters and split it up because we're both experts on it. And that's how I prefer to work.
Got it. So once they start, there's a lot more to getting a book out. I mean, you can go self-publishing, or you can try for a major publisher. So which way do you lean?
I started, as we've discussed, with major publishers because that was the work that I got. Now, I want to talk about that AutoCAD book. It was called AutoCAD Bible. They have Bibles on a lot of different things. And it was huge. So the full price of that book was $50. And my royalty was 10% of the wholesale price. So that was $25. So I got $2.50 per book of a $50 book. Now,
I mean, you know me, so that's like,
yeah. So that book sold a lot, and the rest of my down payment for my house came from mostly that book. It sold a lot for years. People talk about being a bestseller when they're a bestseller for 5 minutes on Amazon. That book was in the top 3 of AutoCAD books for years, actually. It was a great book. It's gone now. It's over. May it rest in peace. But as I developed my first website as an author platform, and I had started developing an email list and started blogging, I realized this was kind of learning. I see other people are publishing books. So I realized that I could create this was a third option to the one that you mentioned of self-publishing, like on Amazon or going with a major publisher. But the first place to start is to create a PDF and just sell it on your website. And that was the first thing I did. And I realized that I could write my own book, sell it off my website, and get like 97% of it rather than 10% of the wholesale price. And that was how I started really doing business online. My first book, 2 books were about AutoCAD. One was 101 tips every PowerPoint user should know. That was my first book in 2004. And then I wrote Slide Design for Non-Designers. And those books have sold thousands of copies, made me thousands of dollars, never going on Amazon, just off of my own platform.
That's very interesting because that's the way I start all my students is a PDF book. It costs nothing to develop. It's
Exactly.
97% profit. I sold my
Exactly.
first one in the year 2000
Okay,
PDF.
you beat me by 4 years, Tom.
and and then I just sold tens of thousands of them by then. And also another thing that a lot of people that listen to this know about me is that many of them, well, I won't say many of them, but some of them are giveaways that lead
Right.
to something bigger to buy. And I have one book that I wrote in a layover at McCarran Airport. I remember it vividly. It took me 4 hours. that and it's brought in as of this morning $3.68 million. So
Wow.
yeah, so because it teaches you how to do something, but you can't do it unless you have the tool to do it, and then I get an affiliate commission on that.
Exactly.
There's all
Yes.
kinds of things you can do with these.
Right. And in fact, the book I wrote, one of the books I wrote with Connie Reagan Green for authors, is exactly how to do that,
Mm-hmm.
is how to take a book and then inside the book have a link to your website where you're selling people things and having offers and so on like that. So absolutely, that's the best way to start. And that was how I started. And it was how I learned to do things like put a buy button on a sales page, really
Right.
simple things that you have to do in order to make money online.
Yeah, and yeah, when we say quick, 4 hours is pretty quick, So
It is pretty quick, and most people don't finish it in 4 hours. But I think once you have the concept there, and if you have an outline, and especially if you're dictating, and I found out recently you can even do this dictation both in Word and on Google Docs on your phone. So you can do it like while you're cooking or while you're exercising or while you're waiting in line for, I don't know, to get tested for COVID, whatever people wait in line for these days. You can really just do it anywhere.
So are you
So it,
saying that that Word automatically transcribes it for you?
well, they have something called a feature called Dictate,
Mm-hmm.
and you click it and you start dictating and it'll automatically transcribe. And Google Docs does the same. There it's called something slightly, you go into tools and it's called voice type or something like that.
So if you're fairly clear, what percentage of accuracy is it?
Oh, I would say 95%. I
Oh,
mean, I've
good.
never, it's quite good. The place that it loses is things like, and you can tell it, period. You can say period, new paragraph or new line. You can, if you know to
Mm-hmm.
do that, you can get better accuracy. It's more like the formatting and punctuation that it gets wrong.
Well, also probably, like if it was Finkelstein or Antion or some,
Yes, of course,
yeah.
names and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. And there'll certain things it will get wrong. And you could, if you want, you could stop and correct it at the time and go back. But I just recommend just going through it and then editing it afterwards.
So you're saying Google Docs has a similar function?
Yes, it does.
Awesome. Yeah. So folks, you probably already have this on your computer, both of these things, and or access to them. And so there's no excuse really, Ellen, for the people that are experts to get this stuff out in a saleable format, right?
I agree. I think that once you have that done, I do feel like you should go out and hire somebody on Fiverr to do your cover to make it look nice.
Mm-hmm.
And there certainly are things that you can do to make the ebook look nice. And in fact, I was just teaching this to recently, things like knowing the features of Word, like making borders and doing call outs, which is box text, and making nice headings. One of the things I learned when I wrote for Dummies books is how important it is. They have a rule, they have a lot of rules, but one of them is if you're going to make a list of 3 things, it has to be broken out into a bullet,
Mm-hmm.
bullet points. And so you break out the text so that it's much easier to read. It's a principle of web design also. and just make things colorful, add lots of image. That's another thing about self-publishing an ebook is it's really easy. I know that you're having a little trouble with this, but I will help you with this. But it's really easy to put images in an ebook in Word or Google Docs that on your own. But when you go to publish something on Amazon, it's a little more complicated because of their format.
Yeah, and I get it done in PDF. It's just that I wish it was more precise and easy where I could just drag exactly where I wanted, and so I just have to improve my skills on that. But I definitely believe in graphics because, Ellen, I think I mentioned this to you the other day. People are morons; they can't read anymore. So, and like the state of Oregon says, you don't have to pass reading or math to get a high school diploma. Jeez.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
got to open up white space and graphics. I know you're a big fan of graphics and the
I'm a big
PowerPoint.
fan of graphics. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And in fact, one of what something you had here, I said the tell and show method that you developed. Tell us about that.
Sure. So, and this is based on some research, by the way, that when you present a slide, it has to do with PowerPoint, but you can take those concepts and apply them in a lot of different situations. You want to tell somebody the point, and then you want to show it. And so you show it with some kind of graphic. It can be a photograph, it can be a chart, it can be a diagram, whatever it is, but people need to visualize it. And just talking doesn't help people understand as well. And also, too many words don't. So the idea is that on any one slide, you basically have a title, just some simple statement, and then that tells what you're saying, and then you show it.
Yeah, and the only caveat here is make sure you have the rights to use the graphic because
Oh,
um,
yes, of course. Absolutely.
yeah, there are companies that their whole business model, legal firms, to just hit you with a federal copyright infringement lawsuit for $250,000 and then settle out for 4 to 7 thousand bucks just for one graphic. So don't poo poo this and don't trust Google Images to say that it's okay to use. That's not trustworthy.
I agree. And in fact, even in PowerPoint, there is a Bing search where you can search for images and supposedly they tell you if it's acceptable or not. And it's not reliable.
No.
So if it's published somewhere else, you should assume that it's copyrighted. So you should, use something like Pixabay or Unsplash or buy an account of images, stock images. Just
Yeah,
pay for it.
there's a new one on the scene called Pexels,
Yes, Pexels.
Pexels, just
Mhm.
gorgeous photographs. And then I pay for a thing from clipart.com. I've been doing it for years. I use it almost every day. And it's got cartoons and it's got photographs and clip art and everything you could ever want in a million years. So it's cheap. So just don't play with that idea because I don't want to hear you crying the blues when you get that federal lawsuit against you.
And by the way, Pexels has a PowerPoint add-in, so you can get those pictures from within PowerPoint. And yeah, so absolutely just do the right thing with
Yeah, and
with your images.
Canva is very popular too. We've had all my
Yes.
ebook students have made their um, covers on Canva, and they have hundreds and hundreds of templates where you can just change you don't
Yep.
even have to go to Fiverr. You can just change the
That's right.
text,
Mhm.
and they're beautifully designed already. But anyway, with them, when you get done with the PDF book, then if you want to turn it into Amazon, it is a little more complicated. But they did make it easier with this Kindle Create software. So they have it for Mac and PC, but you definitely put the graphics in separately because if you just try to import your Word document, God help you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
Jeff Bezos help you. Well, we got to take a brief sponsor break. When we come back, we'll ask Ellen what a typical day is like for her and her business because there's a lot of entrepreneurs here, want to be entrepreneurs, and want to screw that commute. And we'll see how Ellen has built her lifestyle business. So folks. folks, about 20, 24, 25 years ago, I kind of turned the internet marketing guru world on its head. And that guys like me, and yeah, there wasn't as many women in those days, but we're charging 50 or 100,000 bucks up front to help you learn this digital and internet marketing stuff. Well, I knew a lot of these people. They, a lot of them were ripoffs, and you give them that money up front, you never see them again. So I said, that's too risky for small businesses. So I thought, I'll charge an entry fee, and then I'll tie my success to their success. So for me to get my 50,000, you have to net 200,000. Well, people really liked this idea, and they knew I wouldn't disappear on them because I wouldn't get my 50,000. and and 1,700 students later, it's still going strong. It's the longest running, most unique, most successful mentor program in the field of internet and digital marketing ever. I always triple dare people to put their program up against mine, and nobody will do it because you have an immersion weekend at this giant retreat center. You have a separate trip where we shoot videos in our TV studio for you and put the graphics on and edit them and send them to you. And all our training is one-on-one. We don't believe in group training because if I'm talking to an advanced person, the beginners are lost. And if I'm talking to the beginners, the advanced people are bored. So no, that's not up to my standards. So for me and my entire staff, it's one-on-one. We talk to you where you are and help you proceed. And you also get a scholarship that you can either use yourself or gift to the school that I talked about, where we're helping the persons with disabilities. It's the only licensed, dedicated internet marketing and digital marketing school in the country, certified to operate by SHEV, the State Council on Higher Education in Virginia. But you don't have to be in Virginia because it's high quality distance learning. So that's just a few of the things that make this so unique and so successful. So check it out at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. Greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. I'm very accessible. Love to talk to you about it. All right, let's get back to the main event. We got prolific content creator Ellen Finkelstein here. And Ellen, what's a typical day look like for you? Do you get up early? Do you have some kind of routine? What do you eat? What's up?
You want to know what I ate this morning? No.
Yeah.
So first of all, I'm not an early morning riser. I'm
Okay.
just not an early morning person, but I get up at 7. I do meditate, and I practice transcendental meditation and an advanced program called the Cities Program, and that actually takes me almost an hour and a half in the morning.
Wow.
So I start work at 10, and one of the things I love about the entrepreneurial life is that I can mold it around what I want to do. In this case, meditating in the morning, and then I do it again in the late afternoon.
Another hour and a half?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow,
So
wow.
I work from about 10 to 4. Between 4 and 5, I usually exercise, do some exercise and rest and relax, so on like that. And I don't work in the evening except maybe for checking some email or some social media, or if something seems really urgent, whatever it is. But it's comfortable that way. Now I do work on the weekends because I'm really not working that many hours each day. So I'm taking an hour for lunch. So like 10 to 4, that's like a 5-hour day. So I do some work on the weekends as well, but not with clients. So it's a little bit more relaxed. And I learn. I'm always trying to learn new things. So Saturday is my learning day, for example. But basically, that's my routine. I'm a vegetarian. You want to know that?
Yeah.
I had a smoothie for breakfast this morning.
Now, what kind of toothpaste do you use too? I mean, we really want to know.
If you want to wait, I'll go into the bathroom and check.
So, what cracks me up is that Tim Ferriss that wrote that 4-Hour Work Week book.
Yes.
He like works 80 hours a week to promote his 4-hour work 4-hour work week. So
when you're working for yourself, it's a very different feeling. You don't feel like you're putting in hours. And everything's much more flexible. And when my kids were little, I needed the flexibility to be with them. And now I have the flexibility, maybe not during COVID, but I have the flexibility to travel. I live in Iowa, but now we're in Florida. I can move around. I can put my my computer in a bag, and I can be working wherever I want. So I just love that. Yes.
Beautiful. So you got a couple things you got to give away, and then a program. Tell them about that stuff.
Yeah, so we were talking about creating products, and I was talking about outlining and all of these things. So I do have a free offer called a product creation worksheet. And it's basically what it does is it goes through the process of conceiving of your product, including some market research, and then actually creating the product and then marketing it. I'm a big fan of helping people not just do one of those things. So, I can help people create a product, but if I can't help people sell it, then what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
So I like to include all of that. It includes creating a marketing plan and actually promoting it. It's just a free worksheet. And that's at changetheworldmarketing.com/freebies. I have a whole menu item called freebies, and you'll find it there. Everybody will find something they like there. And then I have a course called Create and Sell a Profitable Online Product, which is an extension of that. It's actually a 3-module course. It's called Plan. The modules are Plan, Build, and Promote, and just shows you how to create a product, plan what it should be so that it will sell, and then create it easily and quickly, and then actually promote it and sell it.
That's what we like, because that's one of the things that a lot of creative people fall down on. They're great at creating the product, and then they want to create another product, but without selling the first one.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. First of all, very often creative people don't like the idea of marketing.
Right.
They also aren't really good business people necessarily. And so sometimes, I've been lately really harping on the idea that you have to have an audience. And so many people, and this is so sad, they'll create a product or a course and they'll put it out there, but nobody comes because not enough people see it, because they haven't built up an audience, either their own email list or social media or through partners. So another thing I teach is how to build your audience.
Well, yeah, and then they also have to do a different type of writing, which is advertising copy, to make people want to buy it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So it's more than just putting a product together. You have to do all of them if you want the success. So Ellen, thanks so much for coming on and give us a peek into your life.
Well, thank you so much.
I mean, we didn't hear about the toothpaste, but maybe next time.
Tom, we'll keep that a secret. And nobody has to know what kind of toothpaste I use.
So, okay, folks. So now the product creation worksheet is at changetheworldmarketing.com/freebies. And where do they find the course?
So they should just go to changetheworldmarketing.com/products.
Okay.
Rather than giving a long thing.
Yeah,
if you go to changetheworldmarketing.com, they'll see on the menu, there's one thing for products and there's one thing for freebies. And if they look down, they'll see that course.
And there's other products there. I think I was looking that it might be perfect for you if you have specific needs and stuff. So anyway, good job there. Thank you, Ellen, telling us about your lifestyle business. I'm just picturing meditating 3 hours a day. Wow. I mean,
it's kind of fun, actually. It's not boring.
I might do it in front of the refrigerator, but meditate on what am I going to eat right now. So anyway, but that's the beauty of this. You built a business that works around your lifestyle, and we just love it. So thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Tom.
Okay, everybody, check out changetheworldmarketing.com/freebies and then /products to check out all Ellen's stuff. Don't forget to help out with the persons with disabilities in our school. All those links will be and along with Ellen's links will be in the show notes. So catch you all in the next episode. See you later.